Attention seniors. If you are expecting your March 2026 check to arrive on the 1st, we have a massive, high-priority update you cannot afford to miss. Millions of beneficiaries are about to see a blank space in their bank accounts this March, and if you aren't prepared, it could throw your entire budget into a tailspin. Here's the cold, hard truth. The Social Security Administration has officially triggered a calendar shift. Because March 1st falls on a Sunday, the system is moving. For millions of SSI recipients, that March payment is actually hitting your account on Friday, February 27th. That means 0 SSI payments will be issued during the actual month of March. You must make your February funds stretch further than ever before. The gap between checks is widening, and if you spend that February double payment too fast, you'll be left stranded. We are breaking down exactly who is affected, the specific dates for retirement and SSDI beneficiaries, and how to protect your household from a financial shortfall. This is urgent information for every senior in America. Stop. Before we dive into the specific dates you need to circle on your calendar, do yourself and your fellow seniors a favor. Smash that like button right now. It tells the algorithm this is vital information so more people don't wake up to a missing check. Want the exact dates? Stick around. Now that you've hit that like button to help spread this critical warning, we need to talk about the absolute reality of what happens when the calendar and the federal government collide in a way that leaves your bank account looking empty. It is vital to understand that while the Social Security Administration operates like a massive, well-oiled machine, it is a machine governed by rigid, unyielding rules that do not care about your rent due date or your rising grocery bill if you aren't paying attention to the fine print. We are standing on the precipice of a significant scheduling shift for March 2026. And if you are sitting there thinking that your check will just show up on the 1st of the month like it always does, you are setting yourself up for a very stressful Sunday morning. The reality is that the government never issues payments on a weekend or a federal holiday, and since March 1st of 2026 falls squarely on a Sunday, the domino effect begins immediately, creating a situation where millions of seniors will look at their statements in March and see a total of $0 deposited. This isn't just a minor glitch or a delay, it is a fundamental shift in the timing of your livelihood that requires you to be a master of your own budget starting right now. When we talk about the technicalities of the Social Security payment schedule, we are looking at a system that divides tens of millions of people into different buckets based on their birth dates and the type of benefits they receive. But for those on supplemental security income, the impact is the most immediate and the most jarring, because the law mandates that SSI payments must be in your hands by the 1st of the month. The SSA is forced to move that payment backward into the previous month whenever the 1st falls on a weekend. This means that your March money is actually arriving on Friday, February 27th. At first glance, receiving your money early might feel like a win, like a little bonus from the government. But that is the exact trap that leads to financial disaster for so many households. When you get that double payment in February, it creates a false sense of security where it feels like you have extra cash on hand. But in reality, that money has to last you all the way through the entire month of March until your next scheduled deposit in April. If you spend that early March check to cover an extra bill or a surprise expense in late February, you are effectively entering the 31 days of March with absolutely no safety net and no incoming federal funds. This creates a massive payment gap that we see catch seniors off guard every single time this calendar quirk occurs. Think about the math for a second because it is the most important calculation you will make all year. If you receive your money on February 27th and your next check doesn't arrive until the beginning of April, you are looking at a stretch of over 30 days where the Social Security Administration will not be sending you a single dime. For those living on a fixed income where every dollar is already spoken for before it even hits the account, a gap of this length can be catastrophic. We are seeing inflation continue to put pressure on the cost of eggs, milk, and prescription medications. And when you combine those rising costs with a month where no check actually arrives in the mail or via direct deposit, you are looking at a recipe for a high-stress month. You have to be incredibly disciplined with that February 27th deposit because while it technically counts as your March payment, it will be sitting in your account while the February bills are still lingering, and the temptation to dip into it is going to be immense. But the confusion doesn't stop with the SSI recipients because the rest of the Social Security population, those receiving retirement and disability benefits based on their work history, operates on a completely different staggered schedule that also feels the ripples of these calendar shifts. If you are someone who has been in the system since before May 1997, or if you receive both Social Security and SSI, your payment date is usually the 3rd of the month. In March 2026, the 3rd falls on a Tuesday, which seems safe, but the psychological impact of seeing the first of the month crowd get their money early can lead to massive confusion at the local bank branches and over-the-phone customer service lines. For the millions of you whose birthdays fall between the 1st and the 10th, the 11th and the 20th, or the 21st and the 31st, your checks are slated for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Wednesdays of the month, respectively. However, even these stable dates feel the pressure of the No March Payment headline because the entire ecosystem of senior spending is disrupted when the primary first-of-the-month injection of cash is moved. We have to look at the broader economic picture of why this matters so much right now in 2026. We are navigating an era where the Social Security trust funds are constantly in the news, where talk of reform and COLA adjustments are daily headlines, and where the margin for error in a senior's budget has shrunk to almost nothing. When the SSA announces these alerts, they often do so in dry, bureaucratic language that is buried deep on a government website, leaving it up to us to sound the alarm and ensure you aren't left wondering why your bank balance hasn't budged on March 1st. You have to remember that the SSA doesn't send out a personalized letter to every single one of the 65 million beneficiaries every time there is a calendar shift. They expect you to know the schedule, and they expect you to manage the timing. If you call them on March the 2nd wondering where your money is, you will likely face hold times that last for hours, only to be told that you already received your money 2 days before the month even started. The strategy for surviving a no-payment month is all about mental accounting. You have to treat that February 27th deposit as if it is under lock and key until the calendar flips. One of the best ways to handle this is to visualize your bank account in 2 separate halves. If you see that large deposit land on Friday, you must resist the urge to go out and handle non-essential shopping or even pay ahead on certain bills until you have mapped out exactly how much you need for the 31 days of March. Remember, March is a long month. It isn't a short February. You have 5 full weeks to navigate, and that early payment has to cover every single one of them. We are talking about 5 weeks of groceries, 5 weeks of gas or transportation costs, and the inevitable utility bills that seem to peak during the transition from winter to spring. If you don't have a written plan for that early March check, the no March payment reality is going to hit you much harder than a simple date change on a calendar. Furthermore, we need to address the very real threat of scams that always crop up whenever there is public confusion about Social Security checks. Whenever the headlines scream that seniors won't get a check in March, scammers come out of the woodwork. They will call you, text you, or email you claiming to be from the Social Security Administration, telling you that there is a problem with your missing March payment and that you need to verify your Social Security number or your bank account details to reactivate your funds. This is a lie. The SSA will never call you out of the blue to ask for your information over a schedule change. The reason you aren't getting a check in March is simply because of the calendar, not because of a problem with your file. If anyone contacts you claiming they can speed up your March payment or fix the schedule, hang up immediately. Your money is safe. It's just arriving early, and knowing that is your best defense against someone trying to steal your hard-earned benefits. As we move closer to this date, it is also important to check your My Social Security account online. This is the single most powerful tool you have to track exactly when your payment is processed and sent to your bank. By logging in now, you can see the scheduled dates and ensure that your direct deposit information is 100% accurate. If you are still receiving paper checks, this March 2026 shift is even more critical for you. Mail delivery can be unpredictable, and with the payment being moved to a Friday before a Sunday, any delay in the postal service could mean you are waiting until the following Monday or Tuesday, creating an even tighter squeeze on your finances. If there was ever a time to finally make the switch to direct deposit or the direct express card, it is before this March madness hits. Eliminating the uncertainty of the mailbox is the first step in taking control of a month where the normal rules of the payment cycle are being thrown out the window. We also have to consider the impact on those who rely on housing assistance or low-income subsidies that are often tied to the receipt of a Social Security check. Landlords and utility companies expect payment on the 1st, but if your money arrives on the 27th of the previous month, you might find yourself in a situation where you are paying rent early and then having no cash left for the rest of the month. Alternatively, if you wait until the 1st to pay, you are holding on to a large sum of money for several days, which for many people is a dangerous temptation. The key is communication. If you have automatic payments set up, you need to look at your bank balance on February 27th and make sure those payments aren't going to trigger too early or too late based on the influx of funds. Being proactive rather than reactive is the difference between a smooth March and a month spent in a financial panic. Ultimately, the SSA alert for March 2026 is a reminder of how much we rely on these systems and how much a simple shift in the days of the week can disrupt the lives of millions. You have worked your entire life for these benefits, and you deserve to have them arrive without stress or confusion. By staying informed and understanding that the missing March check is actually just an early check, you are already ahead of 90% of the population. You have the power to plan, the power to budget, and the power to protect yourself from the pitfalls of a double payment month. We are going to keep monitoring every update from the Social Security Administration, every COLA announcement, and every legislative change that could affect your pocketbook because in 2026, information is the most valuable currency you have. Don't let the calendar catch you off guard. Take this information, share it with a friend who might be confused, and make sure that when March 1st rolls around and that bank balance doesn't move, you can breathe easy knowing you already have your funds safely tucked away and accounted for. In wrapping this up, the message for March 2026 is crystal clear. Preparation is your best defense. While the headlines might look scary, the reality is a simple matter of the calendar working in a way that requires you to be your own best financial advocate. You are now armed with the knowledge that the missing March check isn't missing at all. It's just arriving early on Friday, February 27th. This 2026 calendar shift is a test of discipline, and by understanding the gap between late February and early April, you are putting yourself in a position to win where others might struggle. We've covered the SSI double payment trap, the staggered Wednesday schedule for birth date beneficiaries, and the critical importance of ignoring the scammers who try to exploit these routine changes. Your benefits are the foundation of your security, and staying ahead of the Social Security Administration's schedule is how you keep that foundation solid. Remember to treat that February 27th deposit with the respect it deserves. It has a long 31 days of March to cover. Thank you for trusting us to bring you this high-impact update. We are committed to keeping you informed, empowered, and one step ahead of the curve throughout all of 2026. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to ensure you never miss a beat when it comes to your money, make sure you've liked this video and shared it with someone who needs to hear this warning.